Well, I'm going to carry straight on from that part there. And I love the betting ring and the bookmakers, and I've supported it all my life. I tried to, but it's just something you see, and you've got a hard task, because I can almost guarantee that if I post something about bookmakers or bookmaking on social media, the very first negative comments will be from other bookmakers. I mean, is it not frustrating that they're their own worst enemies?
Correct, it is, but I'm just glad I don't go on social media, because social media is a virus, and you know, if I could ban it tomorrow, I would. But
it's a good reach tool, though, because
it
people
is
that
a good
are
reach,
on social media,
but the
have got a big
majority
reach.
of people who are on there are like you just said, they're just looking for any reason to moan or be jealous, or they're the green-eyed monster. Oh yeah, great, blah blah blah. You know, I don't think I've ever posted on social media, and the chances are I never will, because you know, a genuine person or friend knows what you've done is hopefully a good thing. You know, I don't need clarification from people I don't know, and all you're doing is inviting people to just write things that they can't prove are true anyway. So it is frustrating, and like going back to the previous topic, you know, bookmakers need to learn to stand together. Just because someone posts they've had a good day doesn't mean you have to go on and say, oh, well done, I'm glad you won £1 million. But they shouldn't be going on spitefully, you know, but that is just human nature, and I don't think you're ever going to stop it.
Now, this dates back to way before social media as well. There's been no recognised, as far as I can remember, there's been no recognised bookmaking industry spokesman that the media could ever call upon, or if there's an important issue to address. But in the past, they have appeared to have been self-appointed people that speak the loudest. Now, that's before social media,
Yeah.
Now on social media. And if you aren't on social media, you probably won't be aware of, I'm not going to mention any names, who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, is that somewhere where should there be someone at the very top that is the go-to bookmaker spokesman?
I think there is a potential, you know, to have not so much a someone who the Racing Post, or on the rare occasions the racing makes national news or a national newspaper has a story. Maybe there should be someone they can contact. But like you say, normally people will go, for this bank story, I was contacted by the Racing Post and they did something. And you know, but I'm not shouting my plus points, my minus points on social media. But I think it would be good to have someone, or at least 2 or 3 people, who could say, look, you know, if anyone wants anything, contact A, B or C, and they will give a quote that we're all happy with. But again, you're never going to, just because they put forward something, like a jockey club spokesperson puts forward something, if a bookmaker did it, some bookmaker would be straight on saying, that's not what I think. You know what I mean?
Well, this is it. You need someone that they agree, this is our man.
Correct. So if you can get the majority of people, bookmakers, to agree that yes, all right, go on then, we'll give your one voice a chance. If that one voice is asked for a quote and gives it, the people who are on board, they don't have to go on and say well said, but they shouldn't be going on saying, oh, I don't think you should have said that. And other people who do think, you know, we live in a democracy, last time I checked, so other people are entitled to their own opinion. Whether people choose to believe the negative opinion or the positive opinion is up to personal preference.
Now, one of the things that made bookmakers totally credible before COVID was the fact that the SP, which all the bets in the country are settled on, was returned from the Racecourse.
Yeah.
That got taken away under the cover of COVID and never returned. Nobody knows. They certainly don't follow the old rules to return the SP.
No.
Would it? And we've also, everybody that comes racing regularly can see how much more value there is in the betting ring compared to what the SPs return, especially the short price ones. Would it not be a good idea, even though no bet's going to be settled on it, for Racecourse bookmakers to return their own SP just to promote themselves every meeting?
I think that's a very, very valid point, Simon, and something I would definitely look at, you know, without mentioning names. One of the software providers, probably both of the software providers, could probably very easily give like a sample SP every day and say, look, this would have been our SP, and match it to the industry SP, and you're absolutely 100% correct. If you are a short price backer, you should be going to the racecourses, because you know, we haven't mentioned exchanges yet, but they're there, everybody knows they're there, it's not a secret. But if something is 2.8 on any of the exchanges, strong possibility that the industry SP is going to be 6-4 at best. Whereas on course, guarantee you every bookmaker will be 13-8, some will even be 7-4, and you're going to get the odd one who's got an opinion and is going to be 15-8. You can have a proper bet when you come racing nowadays, you know, and there's no commission, it's cash to cash, no questions, no government queries. So I'd like to think, whereas in the past the off-course was stronger than the ring, I would say now the ring, especially on anything resembling a decent day, is stronger than the exchanges or the industry. And if you're sat at home and you're backing a favourite, you know, and it wins, and you see SP 9-4, I would bet 3-1 on that on 85% of the boards at the track at that day at the off, they were bigger than that price. Absolutely. So there is a lot to be said for collating that data and maybe showing it to someone and making enough noise, which hopefully one association could, and hopefully get that potential back, or at least give the punter the option of having it.
Okay, and the final bit for anybody that's not a Racecourse bookmaker, they're going to be a bit bored by the politics. So just the final thing, one thing that you'd like to see Racecourse bookmakers do now that their backs are really against the wall?
Stand together, you know. I know that's beating the same drum, but sniping at each other is not going to get it. We've been doing that for 20 years. Not everyone does it, you know, but there's enough sniping and enough non-togetherness. They're just going to self-explode their own industry. So it's time to make decisions that might be short-term losses for all of us, but long-term gains. And you know, I do think one thing. I think the dress code. You know, we're promoting ourselves as part of the race day experience and the entertainment. And as we all know, the cost of living crisis, the luxury pound. If Joe Punter has got it, or you know, Joe Public's got his luxury pound, he's got lots of choices of where to spend it. He doesn't have to come to Ascot Racecourse or any other racecourse. And if he does come, he doesn't have to bet with me or any of my associates. He's got options. But make it a pleasurable experience. Standing there in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, you know, you're only making yourself look bad. But I'm not saying loads of people do it, but if you walked into the ring and saw that, you think, what am I doing here? I'll go, you know. The Tote and the Brit Bet, they've all got a uniform. I'm not saying we should all be there in a suit and tie, but come on lads, make an effort.
Okay, right, let's find out about you. So you started in the game at 14, something that would be not even allowed anymore.
Correct.
So how did that happen?
Well, like everyone else in the mid-80s, I was a paper boy, and a little card in the County News window saying, interested in horse racing, good at maths, ring me. So basically it described myself. I rang him up. It was no offence to him, a small-time, part-time bookmaker in the Silver Ring, and I went and he showed me how to clerk, the old days, the good old days with a pen and paper, and another gentleman had gone for the interview, and it was Toaster on Toaster used to race Bank Holiday, Easter Saturday and then Bank Holiday Monday 2 days later, and he had a pitch in the Silver Ring, so I went on the Saturday and I thought it was busy, but it probably wasn't looking back. I got paid a tenner, which I thought was great. And then on the Monday, it was going to be the busy day. So I did the odd races, wrote them all out. This other chap, when you're 14, everyone looks 40, but he was probably mid-20s. He wrote out the even number races. I started doing it. There's about 10 bookmakers in the now closed Silver Ring at Toaster. The track's closed. But anyway, it was fairly busy. I was enjoying it. It was exciting. And then the race was off, the first race, and the bookmaker said, right, Bob, to this bloke, your turn now. And he went, it's too busy for me. I can't do that. So I clerked all 7 races. The day went dead quick. I got 20 quid, and that was me hooked.
Now you told me some of your background. You've got some very colourful names in your Gaz Fruit, racing Raymond, Gus O'Neill and Martyn of Leicester. Now, tell us a bit about each of them, because they're all real colourful characters. Yeah,
well, that was back in the day when there was a bit of banter and a bit of, you know, there was a buzz in the betting ring on a daily basis, and Gary Fruit, his dad Tom Fluitt, they ran Tom Fruit. And I worked the odd day for him. He got me in touch with a few Tatstall's bookmakers, and I worked the odd day for them, like big Saturdays, clashes, bank holidays. And I thought I did well at most of the time. Racing Raymond, that was part of your apprenticeship. If you lived in Leicester, you had to work for Racing Raymond. You had to have a day where you worked like a dog and got a burger and a can of Coke and no wages as he kicked you out of the car. But other days, you'd get well treated. So, you know, and they were great stories, great laugh. Gus O'Neill, I remember driving down to Windsor, the Silver Ring, those Monday nights when all the yuppies had the 50s flying out of every pocket. Great times. And I would be the tic-tac or the clerk. And then Martyn of Leicester, he spotted me. He was, before buying and selling the pitches, he was trying to get on the back lines and making a noise. And truth be told, he wouldn't mind me saying, he was quite unpopular when he first started. He's probably not much popular now. But You're all right, Martyn.
We all love Martyn.
We all love Martyn, but he paid the bill, and he was trying, and I worked for him. And then when the computers came on, he realised I was more of an asset on the front of the joint, watching the market, than I was pressing buttons. And like I say, you've got to evolve. If you stop swimming, you drown. It's the same in any industry. You've got to keep evolving. But no, great times, and like I say, I've loved the vast majority of it.
And for people of the Betfair generation that don't know anything about clerking in the field book, quickly run us through what was the. So if I called a bet to you, £25 each way at 4-1, what would you do?
Well, the bookmaker would shout.
If he was any good.
If he was any good, the bookmaker would shout, Frankel, £100 at 25 each way, ticket 472. And then it'd be Frankel, 4 tenors, 473, 4 fivers. And then if you had a good rapport with your bookmaker, you would know what he meant. So you would write 4 tenors down. So basically you had to tell the bookmaker any one time how much you'd taken on the race, what was the takeout for each individual horse, so that he could know how much it won or lost him at any given point. And on busy days, I would say, look, you just round up to 50. I wouldn't tell him it's a 574 quid. I would tell him, look, Frankel loses 600, and then you would just crack on. And it was good days, and bits of cardboard. How there weren't more disputes, and we get disputes now with a printed ticket that everything on it. How there weren't more disputes with the cardboard tickets, God only knows. But they were fantastic times, and a good clerk was worth his weight in gold.